All right, so tonight's our first episode of Slingin Dirt, brought to you by 3 Wide Media. We're going to be going over race results from this past weekend, July 4th weekend at Kennedale Speedway Park. We're going to have Trey Smitherman here with us tonight. Drives the number 96 factory stock. Local boy. We're going to try to do a big interview with him. Got a few questions, try to get everybody to get to know the driver behind the wheel of the 96. Get his input on some of these races, kind of give you guys an inside view. We're going to try to do this every other week or every week. Try to get some different drivers in here. Hopefully next time it's not in the living room. Maybe we got a little bit better setup next time. But we're going to do with what we can, especially with this whole COVID thing going on. Pretend we're 6 feet apart and wearing masks. But hey, it is what it is. We're within the 10 people limit. So, Trey, good to have you on. I've known you forever, obviously. So, go ahead, kind of introduce yourself for the people that don't know you. Let them know, what car you drive. I kind of covered that a little bit, but kind of give them a little bit in depth. Your local track you race at, and we'll go from there. After that, we'll start with race results, and then later on, we'll kind of talk about some of these questions, so we can kind of get your sponsor spotlighted out there. So, Trey, go ahead, tell them who you are, how long you've been racing, and what class you drive.
I'm Trey Smitherman, Mansfield, Texas. I'm driver of the number 96 factory stock. I run KSP mainly as my home track. We live 3 miles from the track. Started go-karts when I got my first go-kart when I was 4, moved up to actually racing them when I was 5. And when I was 10, I got my first race car and started racing it when I was 11. And we ran bombers at Cowtown until we moved over to factory stocks in 2012 after I won championship in 2011. And Dad got second in points, which was a fun year. But we moved
to, I believe, too, 2011 still holds to this date, and we'll have forever hold at Cowtown, but youngest bomber champion ever, right?
Yes, I was 15, I believe. I won my first race at 14 with the adults. I won my first race at 11 with the kids and the junior bombers. But we moved over to KSP after that, and Cowtown closed down. And we just kind of stay at KSP for the most part for regular shows, and then at big shows we'll go. We've been Timberline when they were running, and I think they're going to try to get back up and running pretty soon. And then we always go to the Cajun Classic at Arklatex, and then we try to make at least go to Boyd once a year if we can, and then Waco I love to go run there. So I think we're going to go to Waco here in the next couple of weeks. Tracy Baker, one of our sponsors and friends from down south, he's going to meet us halfway and race there with us and run KSP Saturday night. So try to get some more tracks under our belts this year. I mean, we've ran them, but we just hadn't run them in a while.
It's awesome. Obviously, 2012 was kind of a test year for factory stocks. I know you guys went out and ran a couple times with them out east. Kind of brought back some knowledge. I know from 2012 to now, where we're at with us local guys, DFW local guys,
relaxed our own asses.
Is they're kind of taking over, kind of starting to show up on these East Texas guys' map, Louisiana guys' maps.
Yeah, we thought we were fast around here, and then we went out there, and God, they put us lap down easy.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple of showings out there that really all you can take away from it is the experience and some knowledge. Come back to the drawing board, but that's the good thing about racing is, you think you've got your program figured out. You can be a top-notch program around here, but there's always something else to gain anywhere else you go.
That's what going to the Classic was for us every year. Getting a little bit quicker every time we went. And now we struggled every year. There was years we were in the D main, we'd race up to the C, maybe the B. We were happy in the B. Now every time we go, or the last couple times, we want to make the show. Now we want to make the show, but we also want to get in the top 10. So I've made the show twice in a row there now. So we're hoping to keep that up.
And that's a good trend to go. I mean, obviously, every time you go there, and if it's an improvement every time that you go, obviously, you're doing something right, especially with, coming back home and getting back to the shop and working on the drawing board and, hey, let's try this different, and if it ends up working, man, you got something set up. One thing that I've noticed, obviously, Sorry for the interruption. Harper thinks she wants to be a part of the interview, and she's.
Do not tell
But I know you've had a couple runs of bad luck starting out the year. Whether it be running second, passing for the lead, or running the top 5, rolling
rolled
tires.
my first tire off on a NASCAR slip. I didn't think it was possible, but I did it.
But I mean, it just seemed like one thing after another, whether it be no brakes or tires rolling off, or the occasional you get moved up out of the rut. But it seemed like these last couple of weeks you finally strung together a couple good top 5s. I know you were runner up the week before. Finally broke through. Wasn't runner up this week. You finally broke through. Got that win, first win of the year, I believe. On that new style body that you got there. What kind of body style is that again?
That is the 2004 Pontiac GTO.
So definitely a unique body. I don't think I've seen another car out there with it.
They were only made for 2 years.
I don't think I've seen anybody else with that car style out there. Mainly it's the Regals, the Monte Carlos.
That's why
we
we
got the
did it.
occasional salon.
We wanted something different, something nobody else had. And at the time that I was building that and trying to find it, the rules still said you had to have a rear-wheel drive vehicle.
Yes.
So that got rid of the round body cars, so you couldn't run a round body Monte Carlo on Grand Prix. But the only round body was GTO. So I was like, man, I want to get a GTO just to have something different, something outside the lines. It was just getting to, our rules are so tight. Your door can only be so tall. You can only have 5 inches of drop on the front end. You have to have 2 inches of drop in the rear end. I mean, it's got to be stock appearance. You can only run this kind of nose piece. The rules are just so strict. It got so cookie cutter that everybody's car is the same. And like Nana, she can't go to the races anymore.
Exactly.
Papa can't go to the races anymore. So I wanted something that's going to stand out, something that's easy to find on a video, and also something whenever I roll in the gate, somebody will look at it and go, "What the hell is that thing?" And just something different, something fun, something cool, something to give somebody to look at. So that's why we went that route. But then they opened up the rules and they let the front wheel drives run with front wheel bodies run with us. So you can have a round body Monte Carlo and Grand Prix now. So it wasn't as big of a deal once I brought it out because the rules allowed it.
And so speaking of rules, I know everybody's gone by the Architects rules because that's the heart of the factory stocks. And what is the difference between the USRA factory stock rules and your Architects rules? And basically, was what we're going to call them because that's where they originated from. They originated from Architects. We might as well just call them the Justin Whitehead rules because that dude rules factory stocks and the dude's a wheel man.
They're his rules because the reason why they made the rules is because of him. Everything he did is what caused a different rule each time. But from what I've read, I hadn't really read real deep into it because really right now in our area, only a handful of tracks run those rules. And I know they're allowing the crate motors over, so you can have a crate or you can have the regular motor, and what you would call an open motor for like the modifieds have the crates and the open motor. We don't have an open motor package. We have crates and restricted factory stock motors. And then there's one other difference. I really can't remember it now. I don't remember. The crates was the main thing that raised the big stink with a lot of people. And I've always talked crap about crates just because it's a crate motor.
That's understandable. I think everybody talks about crates, but
they say they make about the same horsepower. It's an even race. I've driven the sport model I drove last year, had a crate motor in it, and I'm gonna tell you right now that thing threw me back in the seat 10 times harder than my factory stock ever thought about. So I don't know what the numbers are side by side, but I can tell you it's got a hell of a lot more torque.
Okay, yeah, I know some of these tracks, RPM being one of them. They're a USRA track. I know there's a couple different sanctioning tracks around here. I know one of the biggest things was with them being, nobody wanted them sanctioned because they didn't want, and this is no way in dogging IMCA, but there's a lot of people that don't like IMCA, and of course, to each their own. Everybody's going to hate IMCA, everybody's going to like IMCA, but they didn't want them to be, I guess, a sanctioned body because they're still kind of like an outlaw class and you don't really have that many
We're
outlaw
one of the-
type cars anymore.
We're one of the last outlaw classes left. I mean,
I think street stocks. You have a couple here and there at Waco. You have a couple here and there at.
they really had an
Oh.
impressive field at Waco lately.
Did they?
Actually, they had the most cars last time I was there a couple weeks ago when they had late models.
All right,
They
well,
had
that's
22. I think it was 22.
It's good to see them coming back. I know for a
Digging
while
the
there,
old
that
cars
was
out.
that was the class to go to, but I think that falls in line with. I think every class eventually struggles at some point in time. I know a while
Every
back.
class eventually will price itself out and level off, and then kind of have to start over, and go from there.
I know
The
they
factory
had that
stocks have
problem
held
with
up pretty well, but I mean, everybody factory stocks are expensive, or they can be. They don't have to be. They can be expensive. You don't. They say, oh, it's expensive to win in a factory stock. It's not. Look at Bones. Bones won last year.
Yep.
He builds his own. Or at the time, he was still building his own motors. He just moved over to Allard and picked up one like what I've got, and he had a chassis that him and his brother built. What, 6-7 years ago?
Yeah.
He puts his own bodies on. He paints his own car. He's maybe got $5,000
$5,000
all
yeah.
together, if that. And he's fast every time he shows up, and he won. You don't have to have $20,000 to $25,000 in a car.
And I want to say he held off an impressive group of factory stocks behind him. I think he had Brett
was pushing him.
I think Hauser was in the mix.
I think so. There was 3 or 4 of them right behind
They were
him.
all right behind them, and he kept it rolling, and paid off. Just goes to show, money doesn't buy everything. As long as you're willing to put the hard work in and out, it doesn't matter how much money you got.
Yeah.
If you're going to put the time and effort into it, it's going to pay off in the end. And sure enough, it paid off for him. The way the factory stock class has grown around here, I think it's one of the most popular classes, right up there with sport mods. I think
Sport mods are
I
very
think sport
popular
mods
right now.
and factory stocks are your 2 biggest classes around DFW right now. iStocks look like they're back on the incline. I know they've been on the incline for a while. Back in the mid, I guess you could say 2010s, early 2010s, they were almost a dying class. But that goes back to the saying, I think every class goes through its thing. But I don't think factory stocks is going to be a class that's going to go anywhere anytime soon.
I just hope they leave it alone. And like you said, I don't want to say anything bad about IMCA or USRA. I don't want to say anything bad about USRA, one, because I like KR and
Yeah.
Sister, and they've got a good thing going. They run a great racetrack. They run a great system. I'm just not the biggest fan of USRA. I'm not a big fan of being sanctioned. But my deal with IMCA, you got to buy their A-arms, you got to buy their stamped tires, their stamped wheels. They can't stamp our tires because we buy used tires.
Yep.
So there's the issue with that class already with IMCA. But like the wheels, I've pulled, and I know Jacob Church had the same situation because I remember him telling me about it. And I did the same thing. I pulled the wheel out of the box, the IMCA sticker fell off.
Yep.
So what do you do then if you're an IMCA guy? That wheel's no longer good to you. You hope you can send it back, or you hope that there's a guy that runs factory stocks that you can trade it to.
You trade it off.
And so, I mean, there's all that different stuff, and that sticker costs you $25 more. I'm just throwing a number out. That sticker costs you $25 more per part. That adds up when you're building a brand new car.
Yep.
So now you're a couple $1,000s extra because you're running an IMCA car. But USRA, my issue that I had with them was 3-4 years ago, they come in and they wanted to pick up factory stocks, and they seen the potential in factory stocks. And I like that USRA allows a little bit more body stuff. They allow you to have a front balance. They allow you to have skirting. They allow you to let your car look a little bit better. Where IMCA and stuff doesn't. Like their stock cars are like
Yes.
all that. But what lost me on the USRA was they come in about 3 years ago and said, hey, we want to sanction y'all, but we want to allow this, and this. They wanted crate motors. They wanted multiple different things, and we all just kind of ignored them. Everybody in the factory stock class, there's a handful of guys that were for it, everybody else just kind of let it go. And then they come back last year and said, hey, we want to sanction y'all, here's the rules, and it was our exact rules. And then everybody moved over, started racing with them, and then one season in, they changed rules.
Change the rules.
Hey, we're going to allow this. Hey, we're going to do this. And in my opinion, if you have a factory stock and you build it to run like that one track or that one sanctioning body allows you to have a crate motor. So why would you build your car to match just that set of rules when you can build your car to match this set of rules and you can race there and here. But when you build it to match this set of rules, you can only sit there. And there was tracks that used to do that with the factory stocks, with the whole body thing.
Yes.
And then, there was just all kinds of stuff, before the factory stocks, we had the bombers. Cowtown had their rule package. Greenville had their rule. None of them matched. You couldn't race everywhere. So we come up with the class, or we went and picked up a class from, I went to Kilgore and we brought the rules back to Cowtown. And we put it all the way across the board. Everybody's running the same rules. Everybody, I can load up on Saturday night. I can go to Super Bowl. I can go to Kilgore. I can go to Architects. I can go down south, all the way down to Corpus Christi if I wanted to. You can go up to Ardmore. You can go to KSP. You can go anywhere, and your car's gonna be legal when you unload it. But if you build it to this one set of rules, you can't go there.
Yeah, and that's kind of the, kind of an issue some people were having. I know Justin Whitehead, he runs the factory stock 50. He got it going. I think it's on its seventh year, 8th year.
Yeah.
I know he changed the name this year. It's a memorial race
Mike,
now for Mike. Prayers to his family and to Justin and all them. I know that really affected Justin a lot. So our prayers are here with you, still even to this day. So we know it doesn't change anything, but I know he did make a post the other day on that race.
He's allowing
both. That he's allowing both. Now, does that bring back, like you were saying, because I had a bomber back in the day, it wasn't very fast, but hey, I was there. But you had your cars, you had your Cowtown bombers, and then you had your Mountain Creek Speedway bombers and your 85 bombers that.
Had the
Hoosier 500s, the 4-inch spoiler. All sorts of different stuff, and called them bombers.
And we're on radials.
Yeah, we're out here on street tires, and every once in a while they would just run away with it for the most part. The night that I ran the
Cowboy Mirror Shack.
Yeah.
Used to come out at Farm Boy, and he was very fast when he'd come over there with his.
Yeah, Farm Boy. You had Albert McCall. They were just powerhouses, and they would just come out there and just whoop everybody. But there wasn't really a common ground that you could find because that was their bombers, and you're going to their track.
It was like us bringing our street stocks against our bombers.
Exactly.
Because theirs were damn near street stocks compared to our rules. At their track, it was a bomber.
And I know firsthand how fast they are because. My first race after Brody was born was 2 weeks after he was born, and we went out there and ran the mini stock the first night, had problems. We swapped over to the bomber, ran B main, made the B main, ran 4th out of the B main and then A main that night. And the top 3 cars were all, McCall, Farm Boy, and I can't remember who the other one was, but they were all, we were all lapped. I was 4th place and I was lapped. And it just goes to show, is this going to propose a problem later down the road, possibly at this race? Well, I'm running this set of rules, I got to run by them. Is there enough difference between those rules and what Architects rules, or I should say just the original factory stock rules, is it going to make that big of a difference between the classes depending on the different tweaks? I think I'm not real sure that the crate motors are going to do
I don't think
a big difference. I haven't heard a whole lot out of the crate motors in the factory stock class.
I think they just have more torque, really. I haven't seen the exact numbers, but I want to say it just has a little bit more torque, which on a dry track, I don't think we're going to see that much difference because you can only lay so much power down to a slick tire on a slick track.
Yep.
So, you're still running slicks, but even on a muddy track, you don't have the tread to grab real hard. So, I don't think there's that big of a difference racing-wise, but just looking power-wise, I think the crate motor's got some more power. But I still think you can produce good racing. I still think you could put, say, Landers, because his USRA car, say Landers has got a crate motor, and you put Whitehead in his car with a regular motor, I think Whitehead would still pull off and win it, but it would still be a close race. I think that they're still pretty even, but I like the open motor, or what do we call an open motor, because people like bumps.
Yeah.
You build your own motor, and that still allows the little budget guy, the shade tree mechanics, to still be able to do that. But if you go to a crate motor, that guy can't do that. My other issue is whenever we go to a race like Architects, we go to Timberline, any of those big races, when that guy wins, You can stay up all night, and at 6 a.m. you can walk up to the tech shed and you can look through his motor. You can look plumb through the block, because you know at the end of the night they're going to tech that guy, and they're going to tech him all the way down, so you know you flat out got beat by a car and a driver, not a motor.
Not the motor.
So, and I like to see that, and I'm cool with going if we all went to the crate motor. Yes, it sucks for the small guy that's building his own engines, and it's going to suck for us to figure out who to sell our motors to, because there's not another class below us to sell motors to. But I don't like that if we roll through tech, it could be like what they do in modifieds. Oh, it's got a crate and seals are there, send them down the road.
Yep.
I want to see steel tech, and the argument you get from people on that is, well, who's going to pay to seal it back up? Well, that's going to be the problem that's going to pose. But I still want to see tech there. I like a strict tech. It sucks having to put your motor back together. It sucks having to put your car back together. But at the end of the night, whoever you beat or whoever beat you, you know was a fair race.
Yep.
And if you have a crate motor, too many times have I gotten on, and I can probably do it right now. You can get on IMCA Facebook pages, you can get on Facebook Marketplace, you can get on Racing Jump, and you can find in 10 minutes at least 2 posts that say 604 crate or 602 crate, whatever. Sealed, will pass tech anywhere, but it has this, and this.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
Yeah. It's
Yes,
definitely.
they're crate motors, and yes, they're sealed. You can get the seals.
Yep.
People can get seals. People can cheat them up.
Yeah, and
You hear about
where
it
there's
all
a
the
will,
time.
there's a way. And unfortunately, you're gonna have every one of those, and in every sport almost that you're gonna have.
It
like
sucks
a day.
that somebody will spoil it for everybody, but whenever you're racing for $5,000 to win multiple times a year like we do, somebody's gonna want that money, and they're gonna want it just as bad as everybody else, and they're gonna have the money put into making what they want out of that motor. So I mean, I think we should still have tech heavy. I mean, at Vivian, you roll through pre-race tech. They check quite a bit of stuff after the heat race. When you finish in the top 3 in the heat race, you roll through tech, and we usually run 2 heat races a night. So you roll through tech on your first one, and I don't care if you won your first one, you already went through a hell of a pre-race tech, and you already went through a hell of a first race tech. You're gonna roll through tech, and you're gonna get a hell of a third tech.
Yep.
And if you win a Beam A, you roll through tech. I mean, they check everybody, every race, like they should, and I think that it should be more like that at a lot more tracks. It takes time, it sucks, and it sucks that you gotta fix your car in between races, but it's nice to know that, at that big of a race, if that guy goes on, say he wins the B main, I finish 5th, they're taking top 4. He goes on, finishes 3rd in the A main, they find him illegal there, he gets disqualified, everybody in the A main gets bumped up, but I didn't get to start the A main. I don't get paid for starting the A main, but I should have because he was illegal.
Exactly.
So, stuff like that, and I know it's hard, and you don't have time to do that at all races, but that's why I like racing out there, man. It's a lot of the stuff out there is done right.
Yeah, and I know one of the things that poses a problem. I know KSPs within city limits. They have a curfew to get done by midnight, or they're shutting it down no matter what. And I know. Do you think that having a time frame like that kind of poses a? And I don't want to say not there because James Lopez is probably one of the best tech men out there you could ever find.
Yeah.
And do you think that has any sort of influence on how fast they do tech or what they tech that night? And if it does, would a proposed possibility. I know you don't want to pay 2 tech guys, but what if you have 2 tech guys? One that does your normal check routine.
One that does your stock cars. One that does
and then
your sport mods.
This guy, whether it be James Lopez or Selby Holder or whoever it may be, they take a class that night, and you 4 are getting torn down. The top 4, you 4 are getting torn down tonight. And that's the way it is. I know I've seen a couple of times where. They roll through tech, they look at it, and I mean they're out before
the
the
next
next race is
halfway.
going.
Yeah.
And the next race they get their first caution within 4 or 5 laps in, they're done with tech and going on down the road. Now I understand there's stuff that they check or they checked the same thing last week, but with being thorough tech, I think almost you would have to have 2 tech men to do that job, or that tech man's going to be there till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning checking cars.
It's not something that you do every night. But like big shows, I think that's what you should do. And then on a normal night, like Lopez has a good system. He kind of picks a class each night that he's going to really go deep on. And then the other classes, he might check vacuum, maybe compression, stuff like that, just to kind of give him, he looks at something, or he'll pull the breather off and take a look at your carburetor, drop the go-no-go gauge down in there, see what it does, and send you on. That way, he's got a couple things that he can take on each car that only takes him a minute and a half, 2 minutes, that he can do pretty quickly to get all 5 of you out of there. That way he has time at the end of the night to do that hard tech on that one class. And I mean, you can't do a hard tech every night on a normal show.
Oh yeah.
But I'll tell you what, Arcotex has a really good tech shed, and Ardmore has the best tech shed.
Really?
They have a lift. They have a 2-bay shop with a big bay in the center that doesn't have a door. So you got 2 cars can pull on this side and 2 cars can pull on this side, and this side's got a lift. So when they get done checking, they'll roll you over to the lift, pick your car up, and walk underneath it. They will check everything there.
That's pretty cool. I have not been to that track. Heard it's a great facility. I know a bunch of our guys go up there and race every once in a while. I know McNeil mainly, he runs up there. But I know that's I've heard very good things about Southern Oklahoma Speedway up there in Ardmore. I know that there's not a whole lot of tracks out west that our guys go to. I know Boyd hits a lot, but have y'all made the trip to Monarch up there in Wichita Falls?
We've been there with Chance. Chance raced it. It's USRA as well. We went there with Chance, and he ran last year. It's just a long haul on a Friday night. It's hard racing on Friday nights, man.
Yeah.
And it's a long haul. I mean, you get off work, you got to have your rig already loaded up, or you got to take your rig with you to work. And then, like, I'd have to go back and pick up. I'd either have to go back and pick up Mallory, or Mallory would have to meet me at the racetrack. Well, it's a 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah, it's
and then
long
you get done
haul.
racing, you got to drive 2.5 hours back.
Yeah.
And that's if you don't do like we did and go to the casino when you're done.
Yeah.
Because then it's a 2.5 hour drive back at 4 a.m. and then you get back at 6 something. It's just not a fun trip at that point.
Yeah. I know we've I made a trip up there. I watched their midget and sprint car show
It's an
there.
odd track.
It
looks a lot bigger than it is. It's a small track, but it's set up like a big half mile.
Yeah.
Like the way everything looks, when you're looking at pictures, you'd think it's at least 3/8 to a half mile. Man, it's a tight quarter. You gotta have a pretty high gear to run there. About a higher gear than what you'd run at KSP, I bet.
Really?
Yeah, if not the same. And turn 4, man, you better get skinny. It looks like I watched them in every car, especially the stock car tour. That's how a couple of them got wiped out. Was you get going coming off of 4, and it's just like you're touching the inside wall and you're touching the outside wall. I mean, it just shoots you right back out. I think it's what it is right there is that opening to enter on the racetrack, and that's where the water runs down the hill.
It runs down in
So
there.
I think it's kind of got a dip and it's slick, so it just shoots you up.
Shoots you right on up.
Yep.
All right. Well, real quick, we're gonna go over some of these race results from last weekend. Did you get a chance to watch any of the racing action, or were you pretty much glued to wrenching on the car?
Well, we had the factory stock there that I was driving our car, and then we also were driving Hostler's Sport Mod.
Okay, that's the black and green 47.
Yes, but we had some clutch issues in it and didn't get to run. We ran a heat race a couple laps, and I tell you what, man, that car really surprised me. We hot lapped it, and I kind of felt what it was doing. And that's what they were wanting me to drive, just try to help them out, try to figure out what they could do different on the car, try to make it handle a little bit better, try to see if maybe Justin was driving, see if Justin's driving it in a corner as hard, because Justin was telling his dad, man, the car's getting really tight. His dad's saying, well, you're lifting too hard. No, I'm not. So it's just like me and my dad.
Yeah.
Any son and dad driver combo, an owner combo, you're going to argue. And sometimes the best thing to do is put somebody else in the car and see how they do. And I was driving it off in there pretty deep, but the car was just wanting to move around, doing some stuff I didn't really like, so we moved some stuff around in the car, and we ran about 2 laps in the heat race, and the car handled perfect. But the problem with it was when you go to hit the gas, it was like it was engaging the clutch. So just wah, and you'd let off, and then it'd take off. Well, finally, I grenaded the clutch all the way down front straightaway. So that cut our night short. But Alan texted me a while ago, the owner, and he got it all fixed up a while ago. So
we're gonna see Trey in the 47 this weekend, and going double duty this weekend.
Justin will be driving this week.
Okay.
It's still his car. Just anytime that he's not there, they talked about wanting me to drive it. I think we talked about at the end of the month, the last Saturday of July. I'll be back in that car. But so we were pretty busy on jumping back and forth between both cars, and I didn't get to watch very many heat races. But we watched the modified A main. I was watching from the infield, and we were doing tech, so it was kind of hard to watch because we were pulling valve covers. But we what other races did we watch? We watched iStock. And a little bit, the last back half of the sport mods.
Okay. So, all right, man. We're going to jump into these race results here real quick. These are all, I'm just doing top 5 in each class. For our sport compacts, they were first class of the night. Of course, Steve Rios, absolutely killing it. I don't think he's been beat at KSP yet.
So fast.
In the A mains. How this dude's not going to Boone, someone needs to get him there because that dude's on a roll.
I think, what's that cat 580 car? I think he's registered to go
Derek Cates.
Yeah, Cates is registered to go to Boone.
He's registered to go to Boone. Man, if someone can get this cat up here to...
Bevel's got him a factory stock now, but man, that dude was fast in that sport compact too.
So if we can get this dude to go to Boone, man, I think he'd show out up there. I did a little research on him. Not only is he leading track points, but he's also leading state points and national points.
And he's running for a championship.
National points right now, I mean, he's got a comfortable lead. I want to say he's almost 200 points ahead of second place. And
Anytime,
he is killing it.
Anytime we rain out, he's on the phone calling, trying to find anywhere and everywhere that's IMCA sanctioned.
And I know he races Boyd Friday nights for the most part.
Yep.
Race Boyd Friday nights, and he comes down and races KSP Saturday nights.
He was so bound and determined 2 weeks ago, he almost got in a truck and drove to Kansas. That was the closest IMCA track
one to
that
go.
rained out.
Well, I mean, and you know, that's another guy. You know, it's not showing for lack of effort. This dude, week in, week out, working on the car, turning wrenches, and you know, it's showing for him. And I think I've seen it. It is
a very good looking car.
I think I think that was a Powers car, isn't it? Powers chassis.
Yes, I believe it is.
Yeah.
I know he's that's either a new Powers chassis or he has one on the way.
Has one on the way.
One of the two.
So, you know, second place was Harold Clifton. I want to say he didn't really let Riojas get too far ahead of him in the 47C.
Oh.
He didn't really let Riojas get too far away from him. I mean, Riojas had about a straightaway on him, but he wasn't gaining anything really, and he wasn't letting him get away from him. I just think a couple, you know, cars here and there between lap cars kind of widened the gap there for him. Third and fourth place, battle all night long between Frank Lackey in the 41 and Jack Branson in the 29. I think they swapped third and fourth back and forth that whole race.
Jack Branson.
That's what they have on my race pass. But I believe that's Little Branson.
He must have a name like mine that he don't go by.
But they swapped spots back and forth. Frank ended up with about 3 to go, finally solidifying that third place spot. Frank also had a little fun in the heat race. I think the first 4 laps of the heat race, he drove with the hood up. Had a little contact and knocked the hood up, and he's coming by the straightaway, looking through the gap in between the dash and the hood. So that was pretty entertaining. And then we've actually top 5 rounded it out. Bondi Gannon in the 33B. He is also leading rookie points for Sport Compacts. So, you know, you got Riojas, you know, showing out, leading national points, and then you've also got Bondi Gannon, who's out there, you know, leading the rookie points. And I want to say he's about a good 65, 70 points away from him. I mean, Sport Compacts, class that KSP picked up, I want to say a couple of years ago, and it's done nothing but grow. Pretty fun little class, especially when you get about 20 plus of them out there.
It's good for getting somebody out of the stands.
And,
it's a class that anybody can get into.
Yep, definitely an entertaining class.
And you need that. I mean, because it got to where at a certain point, factory stocks were your lowest, cheapest class, and it's a hard class to jump into because I've been racing for years.
Yep.
It is tough to win, man. And KSP, I say for the DFW area, there's other tracks that have very good competition, but for me, I think KSP has some of the toughest competition around the DFW area. Now, you go out to Architects, you got some tough races.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it got to where that was the beginning class, and you kind of had three different classes in one. you kind of had the brand new guys that went out and just bought just an old car, been sitting out in the field, threw an old motor in it. Some of them even had 305s.
Yeah.
And they're learning, they're trying to figure it out. And I'm all for a new guy trying to figure it out, but it's tough in this class because you also have the intermediate guys that's been doing it for a while, got a little bit older chassis, still building their own motors. And then you got these guys over here that are stupid fast, been racing for 10, 20, 30 years, and you've got all three of those in one. You've got so many different speeds, so many different skill levels, so many different experience levels, to where you didn't really know every time as you pull up on a car if that guy's going to be still running the same line he ran 2 laps ago.
Yep.
Because he might mess up. He might decide he wants to try this. And you still deal with that with the guys that are more experienced. But when you have those 3 experience levels mixed together, those 3 different speed levels mixed together, it got to where it was really, really hard. And we still were running the point average start.
Yep.
So if I only raced a handful of times a year, and I still don't race a whole lot, but if you don't race every week and you miss 2 weeks, you start the back. So even if you start the back of your heat race, you win it, the best you can start is 12th in the A-main. Now, you got, say, Billy Bob over here in a 1990s model chassis, and he gets up there and finishes in the top 4. Top 4 go into the point system starting thing. He starts front row inside. And so you got the slower cars all the way back to the faster cars, and you got those 3 different skill levels and speed levels. There was a lot of stuff getting tore up. That's why I like the redraw. And that allows, like this weekend, you had guys from down by Corpus come up and race with us. We had guys from all over the place come race with us because they know that as long as they can get, I think we had 4 heat races, so if you finish in the top 3, you get in the redraw.
Yep.
So you could win it or you can finish 3rd in your heat race. Either way, you're going to start anywhere from 1st to 12th. You don't know. So it makes it easier for guys to come out and race with us, and it takes away from some of the tore up cars.
So yeah, it definitely you can definitely tell, especially when someone's getting into one, and you can definitely tell.
Yeah, like I said, I'm all for somebody learning, but man, it's tough to have that different of levels in the same class.
And of course, right after that class, we had our factory stocks. Of course, feature winner sitting right here this week, and I want to say Powers brought it up was before Saturday night, before he began. We haven't had a repeat winner in the factory stocks class.
That's what they told me. I hope I can mess that up for
him. I know Powers was trying real hard. I know he yoinked one away from Chance the week before.
Yep.
Last lap pass.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
He it's definitely a competitive class. Powers right there on your door. Put a little pressure on you, and I felt like when he put a little pressure on you, it looked like you found a little bit faster way to get around the track, and you 2 up front, that was kind of where y'all were at for those last 5 laps. And then 3rd place, we had Melvin Kemp Jr. Dude was a rocket.
All the way at the back.
Dude was a rocket. Had some bad luck in the heat race. Ran a B main.
He spun out twice in the B main.
Yep.
And still transferred.
Made it. Started 18th and finished 3rd, picking up 50 spots. And the dude was moving.
He was running the top where nobody else was. Yeah. I went back and watched the video. He was on the top.
He was moving. Chance, you ran door to door with him for probably a good 10 laps.
That was probably the most fun I've had in a long time.
You too. I mean, you would come out in front of him, he would come out in front of you, and it was just door to door. I mean, trading tire marks, just good wholesome hard racing. 5th place we had Hauser, Jeff Hauser in the 81X.
I think he started like 11th or 12th.
Yeah, he started on back there. He drew way back there. He had some bad luck in the heat race, even though he won. Sid broke a rocker. You could hear it lay over with the lap as he's taking a white flag lap, and he ended up winning the heat race, but they got everything fixed on it. Was able to run a good solid top 5. That's another one of our winners from this year. It's eventually we're gonna have a repeat winner. Kind of like the streak of seeing someone else different win every week, because it just goes to show the talent level of what's in that field. Definitely any given day someone can win out there.
Has Brandon Taylor won at KSP yet?
Yes, he did.
He also won. If he hadn't, he's one that's coming.
He also won me $1. So
yeah.
right after you guys, we had the Red River Mod Tour. It was their fourth stop on their tour. They were supposed to race Sunday at Boyd. Some rain canceled that out. That ultimately gave Josh McGaha the series championship for that Red River Mod Tour. That was a damn good race. I think if it weren't for cautions, I think Chris Elliott was going to sail away with that one. He got out to an early lead, but a couple cautions let Leonard and all them group back up. Leonard ended up running them down.
Yeah, they were side by side for a while.
Oh yeah, they coming out of 4 for the white car for the white flag. He threw a slider up in front of them coming out of 4, and just put that lap car in between them, and that was all of it there. And so Cody Leonard in the 12, he ended up winning that night. Chris Elliott got second. Chris Bragg, local guy, he races Boyd. I used to run with his son in many stocks out there at Boyd. Josh McGaha came out of a B main as well. I think he started about 14th, and he ended up finishing 4th. And then another Abilene guy, Fred Wojtek, he 44F, he finished at 5th. iStocks, I gotta say, was the best race all night long. Long-time racer and friend Eric Miles, he finally got his first feature race. But that top 4, you could have put a blanket on them, and anybody could have won that race. They came across the checkered flag, side by side, nose to tail. Abbey brothers were on the outside. You had Eric Miles, Gary Williams on the inside, and those just 4. I mean, just the last 7 laps, just side by side. Abby's did everything they could to get around Miles. Miles had an answer for everything. Eric ended up winning. Jeffrey ended up getting second. We had Weston in third. Gary ended up finishing 4th. Saw where Gary said he pulled a rookie mistake and thought the white flag was the checkered flag. So,
so you always make one extra lap.
but yeah, he said he pulled a rookie move. He said everybody just kept going. So, and then Jarek finished off with a top 5, rounding out the top 5 in iStocks. Sport mods. I think by that time, track finally rubbered up on the bottom. That was the best spot to go to. Damon Hammond ended up winning it. Billy Gould Jr. He's been picking it up here recently. I mean, showing up in the top. Yeah, the white number, orange 60. He's shown that he's whatever he's done in the last few weeks is really, really showing. Shelby Williams, he picked up 3rd place. He was coming. I know they broke motor Friday night at Waco. When I pulled up to the race Saturday, they were up underneath the shade trees working on them out there in the parking lot. So it was a different motor in the car. Still didn't hold him back. He was up there in 3rd. Jarek, he swapped over, got his sport mod, finished 4th place. So he had 2 top 5s on the night. And then we had Brunson in the 10 car, he's getting faster every week too.
Casey's quick.
And it showed for him. That's our results from this past weekend. I know this weekend we got full show card. We've got all our IMCA mods. We've got our factory stocks, sport compacts, iStocks, and we've got our sport mods. Also, in addition, we do have our dwarf cars this weekend, and we've also got a spectator race. I didn't know that was coming this weekend. Definitely going to be a fun time out there.
Put it up out of nowhere.
I thought they weren't doing it till like August, but I saw it pop up on their flyer that, hey, we're doing a spectator race this weekend, and sure enough, they definitely it's definitely, if you haven't never seen one, definitely something to come out and watch. You got some of these guys out here in their mom and dad's Mustang, and you got those guys out there in their jalopies that don't care what happens to the car, and it sometimes it gets wild, but it's definitely. I think we need to put the Kia out there. Yeah, put the Kia out there, and we'll get after it. But it's definitely a wild one. Gates open at 4:00 for the pits. Grandstands open up at 5.
Cheeseburgers go on sale at 5.
Yeah, cheeseburgers do go on sale at 5. If you haven't had a dirt track burger from KSP, you're missing out. I know everybody's got their favorite food. Mine's definitely going to be the cheeseburger. Other people like cheese fries, whatever. And chicken nuggets. Who gets chicken nuggets at a racetrack?
You don't eat chicken on a racetrack.
Yeah. That's true. So, we're going to come in, break into some of the national, stuff, but I think we're going to bypass that. I know you got an iRacing race tonight for your your iRacing league that y'all are in.
Sounds super long.
I know that some of these guys are like, I'm one of these iRacing deals, but I know that's what kept a bunch of you drivers busy during this whole COVID quarantine thing.
I usually run on it just to have fun on nights that we're just gonna stay home, not do anything on like a Friday night. Me and a bunch of our buddies will jump on there, we'll drink beer all night, hang out, play, and just have a good time with it. I normally don't run a league or anything, but we kind of started all this when the COVID stuff was still going on, and it's all the guys that we race with in factory stocks around here in Louisiana. And so it makes it easier to keep up with like Cody Myers. We hang out with them every time we go out there, and we drink with them after the races and hang out with them, and they help us on the car and stuff like that. You know, they'll lend you anything you need at the racetrack, and it just kind of is a way for us all to kind of stay connected, keep talking to each other. We still hang out because I ain't gonna drive 3 hours to go there and hang out with him. So it's a lot easier to do that, and it gives us something fun to do, sitting there playing on your game. So I normally don't do a series and try to get serious with it, but this has been a pretty fun deal to do. So,
and I know a bunch of the guys that are in that series. There's a bunch of guys that race. You got guys like Beard. You got Hauser, Sanguinetti. I know you got a bunch of these factory stock guys that are in there, or guys that do race sport mod factory stuff. All sorts of stuff in there. So I mean, it looks like it's fun. Oh, is he?
Yeah. Dustin Neighbors is pretty quick too.
So I know y'all got y'all series wrapping up tonight. I know you said you got one starting. I want to say
it starts at 9.
Starts at 9.
Yeah.
So y'all get that wrapped up. A couple more things for you. I know we touched base. Where you started.
Drew at 98.
I know your racing career. You started when you were young with go-karts. As far as racing, a little bit. I think we all know. I know, but tell them, what made you want to race? What was the thing that made you want to race?
Man, we've been, my whole family's been racing for damn near since they invented the car. I think I'm 4th generation. I think Brody's 5th race car driver, and Dad started. Back then you had to be 15, 16 to start racing. Dad started as soon as he was 15. They built him a car, and it just really wasn't a whole lot of a option choice. You were racing. And so when I was 4, Dad got me my first go-kart, and first time I hot lapped in it in the field, I ran through somebody's fence and landed on the other side. The fence closed back behind me, so Dad had to go knock on their door to see if he can get my go-kart out. But and then we started racing at Cowtown, running the go-karts, and the same way Brody, it's when you're 4, that's when you get your first go-kart. When you're 5, you start racing, and by the time you're 10, you got a car.
Yep.
He was 7.
He was 7. Yeah.
So,
he was a little earlier up on the gun. I think he's I want to say without the Smitherman championship wall for being in a race car.
He's already caught up to me.
Yeah, he's the youngest to have championships up on the wall.
I only have, and he's the only one with Pat and Brody are the only ones with Kennedale Speedway Park championships. Mine are both at Cowtown. Chance's are both at Cowtown. And Gary's are both at Cowtown.
And I know on y'all's wall, I know y'all's racing wall of champions. Y'all got everybody up there, and then y'all got down at the bottom. I think it's was it Kenny? He tries real hard.
Tries real hard. Kenny has won more races than all of us combined, and can drive the hell. I tell you right now, and I told Dad, if I can't drive my car and Dad doesn't want to drive it, Kenny is who I put it.
That's the next
Kenny
one up.
can drive. I'm telling you, the dude can drive a hell of a car. He's won more races than we ever thought about. And he tried to run for points, and every time he finished second. Something would happen, and he'd finish second. But man, back in the 90s, that dude was killer in a street stock and a hot stock. I mean, he was fast.
And I know he's racing enduros now. Didn't he get his old hot stock back? He tracked it down, and
he come across a car posted on Facebook for sale, and it showed it was in Mansfield, and he could have swore that was his old car. So he drove around Mansfield in February when it was 27 degrees outside, looking for a storage facility that had a blue awning over each door, just a little blue awning. And he looked and he looked and he looked. He went and picked Dad up, and they drove around Mansfield for about probably 4 or 5 hours until finally one of them looked down the aisle and seen blue covers. They went in there, found the guy, talked to him, figured out what deal it was in, called the guy. He met him up there, bought the car for, I think, $800. Race ready. And it ended up being the car that, I can't remember the guy's name, like Ramirez or something, that owned the car. So it started with an R, that Kenny drove for. And I don't think it was Ramirez, but it started with an R. But he built the car for Kenny to drive. It was set up for Kenny, had Kenny's hand clutch, and had a hell of a motor in it. And when they picked it up, they thought it had the same motor, but it didn't last a whole lot. Between me and Kenny driving it, and then letting all of our friends hot lap it, we blew it up in hot laps. But he drove that car in several enduros till he blew the motor up, and then he took it. He put one of his spare factory stock motors in it and ran multiple enduros. And I ran it in a couple enduros, and then he blew the motor up in it this past year at the 600. And when I say he blew it, he let everything. When I drove it, I asked him, what temperature did it run last night? Because I drove the second night. He said, I don't worry about that. I was like, what do you mean, don't worry about it? He was like, I ran like 280. I'm like, what? He was like, don't worry about it. Well, I looked down, I'm about lap 60, and the temperature gauge has wrapped back around. It has come back to the bottom and is starting to go back up.
Going back to the top.
Yeah, I don't know how any of his motors lasted, but he's got several enduro cars now. He's just got a couple different project enduro cars that he's working on. He bought another Camaro the other day. He bought it race ready from a guy down the street from him. See, he's sitting outside.
All right, well, yeah, definitely. I know the enduro races; those are a fun thing to do at the end of the year. Beginning of the year.
If you've never been to the Lone Star 600, go. It's the most fun I've ever had in a race car. I was lucky enough that Ryan Anderson from Big Red Automotive put me in one of his cars. He got a sport mod for us with a crate motor.
Okay.
And we paid $4,000 for the car race ready.
Ooh.
We took it straight to KSP, raced it that night, and the next week we took it to the Lone Star 600. Started fourth row inside of a 3-wide start from a standstill, and I think we had 140 cars there, all the way around Devil's Bowl. When they dropped the green flag, by the time we got to the back straightaway, I was leading. And when there's 150 cars and 300 laps and you're leading it on the first one, you don't know what to do. You get to the back of the field and you're like, what are you doing? You just kind of start over. You just start. It's like being in the world's worst traffic jam at 80 miles an hour trying to pass people. And every time you go, ooh, there's a hole, here comes a late model. Here comes a modified. Like, here comes a dude in a Pinto. Some guy's got a 4-cylinder with a, supercharger. Supercharged 4-cylinder. Old dude in an old HHR. Flying by. It is crazy, dude. But man, we led the first 130 laps, 115 of the first 130. Because there for a little while I was back and forth with Devin. They ended up winning it. And we got out to the lead, and a guy come off, there's a Volkswagen Bug. He come off the top lip, hit a modified. The modified come down and hit me, and it snapped the ball joint. I got off the racetrack. Well, on Friday night, you stop at halfway. Saturday, you don't. Friday night, you stop halfway so you can kind of gauge your fuel window. Well, we got off the racetrack. They changed it, and Donald and Lemons were crewing for us. And Ryan was standing there with a brand new ball joint, ready to put it in. And they said, well, it's just sheared off at the nut. We can just throw a nut on it and go, because they're fixing to go green. So they threw a nut on it. We pulled back on the racetrack about probably 50 laps later. It was cracked. And I found the crack, because I was 15 laps down when I went back out, but I was still in third. I had gained 3 of my laps back. So we were still moving. And that old crate motor was screaming. We was going through the field. And about halfway, it kind of thins out to where there's only probably 50 cars on the racetrack, so it's not as bad. Max. And then I come off turn 4, and the right front ball joint snaps wide open at 80 mile an hour, head on the wall. I sent the pump out the front of the transmission, sent the torque converter into the motor. It was a pretty bad deal. Bent the frame. But it was the most fun I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, I've always heard good stories about the 600, so I definitely... it's in October, isn't it?
Yes, it's usually the first weekend of October.
So if you don't have anything to do with, that'd be a fun event to go to. We've already covered, your current home track. That's going to be KSP. It's right around the corner from you. It's got a couple more things for you, and then we'll let you get on down the road.
Yeah, we got.
What's your favorite track? All-time favorite track that you've ever raced at, past, present? I mean,
Cowtown is my all-time favorite track. I grew up there, started racing there when I was a kid, and I really think if that track was still around with the factory stocks we have now, boy, the racing would be awesome.
Oh yeah,
Because you got the high banking, no walls, and that's also the reason why my favorite track that's open right now is Architects. It is a red dirt Cowtown. You go down the front straightaway, and you can just dive bomb off onto the bottom because its bottom is completely flat. It's all the way flat to a big banking. So you can run in on the bottom, slide it back to the banking, and launch off. And you put your left front on the berm. So you can just haul ass off the corner. And at the same time, you got guys running the bottom down here doing that. You got guys up hanging right rear off the top lip. And I love a racetrack that doesn't have walls. Because I love to be able to get up on the top lip, hang the right rear off, go down the back straightaway. I like for the people in the stands to see your drive shaft. Because you're hanging that thing all the way off and jumping back on the jump shaft. That's my favorite. And that's why I like that racetrack so
And that's
much.
definitely another race that anybody's got to go to. I mean, whether you're camping in tents, camping in your car, staying around the corner in Shreveport. I mean, the Cajun Classic has always been told as that's the Super Bowl for factory stocks. That is the race. It doesn't matter if you're racing for $500 or $5,000. They said that's a race to go to.
We had 164 cars factory stock show up one year at the Classic. We always average over 100, but that one year there was 164. The year before that, I think, was 156. And you've got all of those same people racing for the same 5,000, pays $400 to start, $5,000 to win. 24 cars make the AMA. That's a lot of guys going home.
Yeah.
I didn't even know where the pay window was for the first 4 or 5 years I went because I never got to see it. Now we know where it is.
Now you know where it's at.
You go out there, you got that many guys not making the AMA, and you got that much money on the line, and you tear up less cars at that race than you do on a normal Saturday night at a lot of tracks.
Yep.
You get driven hard. You're gonna get door slammed, but it's not gonna be just plumb run over. 9 times out of 10. That guy's gonna run in there and move you. That guy's gonna throw a slider on you. He's gonna bump you and move you. They're gonna be more aggressive than a normal night, but they're not gonna wreck you. Where at a lot of tracks on a normal night, they'll just wreck you to wreck you.
Yeah.
And that's what sucks. You got a lot of guys that are way too aggressive, but you got a guy where, like me, I'm not aggressive enough a lot of times. There's a lot of races I've lost because I didn't want to. Last week with Blake Clark, I had so many people tell me, you should have moved Blake. When I got to him, I was running second. I felt like I definitely had the fastest car, but when I got to him, there was just nothing that I could do without flat out racing, without just running there and turning him, and I wasn't going to do that. If I could get to him, and with 2 to go, I went through the 2 to go sign, and I hadn't touched him yet, and I thought, my exact thought was, I've got him set up exactly where I want him. I know what I want to do. I've got it set up perfect. He doesn't know I'm here. He's slowing down. He's trying to hit his marks. I'm going to get him. The second I thought that, he let off a half a second earlier, and I hit him. and I was frustrated. I was frustrated all week. I was happy. I told them when we got to the racetrack that night, my goal was just to make it to Tech. With how bad of luck I've had the last year and a half, we just wanted to make Tech. And we struggled with the car a little bit. We played with it a little bit. We finally got the handling back. Changing bodies screwed me. Dad told me it was going to happen. I didn't believe him. Changing bodies will change the handling of your car. Yeah, it'll change the handling of your car. Dad was 100% right on that, and it did, and I just had no drive in it. And I couldn't figure out why, and we played with it, and I finally got it figured out. And this car, this year that car has been on a rail. And so I told them, I was happy getting second. I was ecstatic, but I was frustrated. And I was frustrated all week because I felt like that was my one shot to win this year. Because you don't know if you're going to get another shot.
Yep.
You don't know if you're going to keep drawing 12s. You don't know if you're going to have fast guys in the front row. You don't know if you're going to be able to get the track in your conditions, and you just have everything fall right into place for you.
You get to start 12th, and then you got guys that start up front that are fast, and you go green to checkered, and you don't have an opportunity or that break that you need.
You got to have everything fall in the right place to win a race right now. It is hard as hell to win at KSP. And I felt like, that was probably my one shot, and I did not capitalize on it. And that's why I told people that. I was like, I didn't capitalize where I wanted to. So when we showed up Saturday, we unloaded. I was just hoping to do good, go up there and draw 90. Start dead last. And the cards just fell right through the heat race. I went down the back straightaway. They're 2x2 in front of me. but they were kind of moving around, and there was a lot of movement in front of them, so I couldn't really get in a line that I knew was going to be faster than the other. I was kind of seeing, is the inside going to get going, so I know to get in here and then try to move around. So we went down into 3, and I was still kind of indecisive, so I just ran it on top just to see if it sticks, see what was out there. And luckily I did, because that backed me up just far enough that when the 2 guys at the front got into each other, I mean, just enough to bobble, everybody kind of chugged up. And that gave me enough room to dime in the corner and go under him. But when I diamond under him, I got a hell of a run. Then Foster got turned sideways, and she was coming down the hill. So I zigzagged around her, and this guy's going slower, so I move out here. I ended up coming out the 4th. And from there, we were passing 1 car a lap. We'd get down in behind them, set them up, run by them on the bottom, set them up, run by them on the bottom. And I got him behind Heffler. And there just wasn't really, he had the line, and top 3 redraw, there really wasn't a reason to try to push the issue with him. So got into the redraw and got lucky to redraw 4. And Devin Burgess, I don't know what in the hell he does. That dude has drawn a 2-3 weeks in a row. He starts second every week.
He threw some pretty cool sliders in his heat race. He threw 2 of them back to back, and there were some pretty sliders there. So, I mean, of course, hope to see you out there this weekend. I don't know if it's in the plans for you. I know, like you said, you race periodically. So definitely, if you guys would come out to KSP this weekend, look for the 96 factory stock. Bright yellow and white cow spots, the famous Smitherman cow spots. One other thing before we let you go, just go ahead and tell everybody your sponsors, what makes this 96 go round, and then we'll get you on down the road, bud.
Yeah, I mean, we want to, all the guys that help us every week, Mallory helping me get everything ready and making sure I don't go ballistic at the racetrack and
Smart
do something
man right
stupid.
there thinking the woman first.
And Mom and Dad for everything they do on the car and everything they do for me. All of Smitherman Racing, Donald and Lemons, they pick crew for me anytime I need it. And then we got B&B Automotive, BDC Coatings. They've been with us for almost 10 years now. Hey, Tracy's been a hell of a help, not just financially, sponsor-wise. Dude just helps us out, period. He's turned into a great friend. We got Smacker Chassis. We build our own chassis, build our own bodies. Allard Racing Engines. They build my engines and Kansas engines, and I mean, you seen it this weekend. Both of them were on.
Yep.
Both of them were in rocket, man. And then we've got River Run Cabins out of Colorado. We just got back from there a month ago, and we're going back next month.
I was gonna say, I've seen the photos. Beautiful place.
Awesome.
So definitely something that I'm gonna look into. When all this stuff blows over, we finally get some time to go take some vacation. That's definitely one of the spots that we've wanted to go to. Just by seeing the photos from there that y'all post when y'all go. So
y'all check out River Run Cabins in Ouray, Colorado. But then we've also got BH Fabrication, Brandon Hole. Man, he's been with us from the start. He lets us come over and use his shop anytime we need to. Builds us anything we need. 517 Designs. He's done my last 2 wraps, the only 2 wraps I've ever had. They did my wraps, and I think that's it, man. I really do. But I mean, Smitherman Racing and Smacker Chassis, that's us. And man, the guys that we have surrounding us, you couldn't ask for better people. Them guys, you're in anytime when we're building cars, building Chance a car, building Dad a car, we built Jonathan one, built mine. We were in the shop till 9, 10 o'clock every night. And Saturday during the day, 100 degrees outside, we're in the shop building. And everybody throws in, everybody gives a hand. That Glenn Slack has helped us a ton. He lets us use his shop. He is the one who built my car, and we just kind of helped. And then from there, now Chance is the main fabricator, and Glenn does it when he can. And Glenn is the one who figured out how to build the aluminum bodies to make them look as good as we've been able to. And he's taught Chance and taught me a little bit, and I kind of started figuring it out. And now between me, Dad, Chance, and Jonathan, we figured out how to build a whole body. And Bo and Angela, Mallory's parents, they've helped us a little bit here and there. George Cox has helped us every year. But I think that's everybody, man.
all right, man. Well, good things coming out of the Smitherman Racing stable and the Smacker Chassis. course, if you're looking to get into factory stocks, you know, there's tons of options out there. You know, you got your Outlaws, you got your 2.5s, you got your Powers, you got your Smacker chassis. Definitely, you know, Smacker chassis was showing out there. You know that they can compete up there with all the best of them. With a first and fourth this weekend.
I just like to be able to, at the end of the night, say we built the car.
Yep.
We're driving.
And,
And I'll always send everybody that just anybody that wants. They say they want the best of the best. I'll always send them just like that. But we just wanted to be able to say, when we win, we can look at it and say we built that car.
Yep.
We built everything on that car but the engine. We do transmissions in house. Kenny does the transmissions at the shop. We do the bodies ourselves, the chassis ourselves. I mean, we do everything there in shop. We drop the car off to get wrapped, and we pick the motor up from the engine builder. That's the only thing. And we used to build our own engines, but Allard, the way that they're set up and the way that they help us out, there's no, you can't not use them. They take care of everybody. They do engine dynos, they do chassis dynos. Yeah, you can call. I broke a rocker arm last year because I had too low air pressure and I was loading the motor up and just shot the rod from the rocker arm. And I called Mike at 9 o'clock at night on Saturday. He was racing out in Ennis. He answers his phone. Hey, what do I do? Put another one on it. You're fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. Do I need to bring it to you? No, I think you're all right. If anything happens, call me again. And he's like that with everything. Anytime I have a question or I think the motor sounds funny, I think I'm not coming off the corner as well as I'd like. I think it might be the motor. Bring it over, I'll dyno it. You drop it off on Monday, he'll dyno it on Tuesday. You can go back and pick it up that day. So, and you can't ask for better customer service.
There you go. Well, guys, that's all that's going to be for tonight for Slingin Dirt. I know it's going to be kind of a lengthy episode, but that's what we're going to try to do every week. Try to get some insight on our local drivers here. Possibly get some outside drivers. Extra commentary provided by my daughter Harper here, since we're doing it all home. But again, thank you guys for all your support. I want to thank Trey for coming out, letting us, you know, get his insight on some of this stuff, kind of doing a driver in depth. Got some big things going on here. This is just the start of it all. Eventually, we'll get a little bit better audio, possibly getting a little bit of a studio, kind of help with some of this noise. So, but other than that, guys, thank you, and we'll see you next time.